All right, welcome back to the RetroCult Podcast. I am your host, Chuck. That is your host, Mac. Mac, I kind of know what's been going on because we spent the whole day
Yeah,
together
we had a
yesterday,
great
and I
day.
mean
Had
the
a
whole
retro
day.
cult road trip
It
yesterday.
was,
So
man. The RetroCult road trip was much needed. I enjoyed every second of the day, even the unplanned excursions that we had.
oh no, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it because we both found some really cool stuff. We have stories to tell, good and bad.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and so yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
I am too, man. So let's just jump into it. Man, we started the day off, not super early, but early enough, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um,
Yeah, actually
and
so early that we had to call an audible and go somewhere
yeah,
different because the places we had planned to go weren't even going to be open for like a few hours.
and that's I had thought initially, when you said 8 o'clock, I thought, hey, that'll be fine. By the time I get to his house and we unload the Mac box, which would take about 45 minutes or so, uh, and hand out all the things, I thought we would be a little bit later, but with Laura being sick, we kind of jumped right on the road,
Yep,
which put
yep.
us out there a little bit earlier than I thought we might have initially been. And then we had some changes with Mike and his lunchtime.
Yeah,
And when
yeah.
we were going to meet him, which put us, we didn't want to just, you know, do nothing in Mebane for 2 hours. So yeah, we just called an audible, and I think it
Yeah.
was, it
No,
worked
I'm
out
glad
great
we
for
went
us.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
we started the day off right. That first deal of the day was a good one.
it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so do you want to describe it to the listeners
Yeah.
first and
So
then we'll
I'm gonna be
just
honest
kind
with you.
of go into detail?
I still don't know the name of the flea market. It's just an outdoor flea
Oh
market
yeah.
that I like to go
What's the
to.
name of the road that it's
Um,
on?
Ashbury Church Road, I think.
Asbury. Yes,
Asbury, yeah,
Asbury Church Road.
yeah. I don't know what that place
I
is called.
guess kind of near Wilkesboro, North Carolina. If anybody
Yeah, on the
just
way
do a
there. Yeah,
search. Yeah, just do a search. It's in between Clemens and Wilkesboro, North Carolina. So if
it's a
anybody's
little closer
interested
to
in looking it
Wilkesboro
up,
because
yeah.
I remember you saying, "Are we ever going to get there?"
I know. I was like, yeah. How far is this place again?
Yeah. So we went there, and it's it could be very deceiving if you don't if you look at it on the surface level. You could be like, I'm never going to stop there, but there are some booths there that have some very good things, and so I'm happy that we went there because we got some fantastic deals. Just got we picked up just a bunch of stuff.
Well, you got
Um,
another. What's the GoBot that you got?
Rogun, I think, is his
Rogun.
name.
That's right.
Yeah, I
You
picked
got.
up a
That's a
GoBot.
second one you've gotten in 2 weeks, right? Or two or
Yeah, I
three
think they're
weeks. Yeah.
manufacturing at their house or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
picked up another Rogun, which I'm not going to leave sitting there. Picked up some action figures. I picked up, and honestly, I'm kind of glad I picked that Wendy's like knockoff Madball up because those are a little bit more popular than I initially thought. There are people out there that are really wanting to get the whole set of those.
Yeah,
Um,
I also picked up a couple of action figures. One of them I relatively new that the Batfleck Batman figure from Batman v Superman. That was one of the last lines Mattel did before McFarlane took the license. So,
his coloring was
but
different
he
though.
was wearing the only reason I picked it up because I mean I have a few of that character's figures. I have some of the DC Direct statues of him because I really did like the look, and I really liked Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman. He was much like an older, seasoned, grizzled Batman. I really dug that. But I really wasn't on the lookout for any particular figure, and the only reason I picked it up because he's wearing the blue and gray, and I was like, I do not remember them ever doing this. Like this clearly was never in any of the movies. So I just thought that was great because I love classic Batman blue and gray. So I did pick it up, and we found that Burger King kids meal Superman toy from 1997 that was in really nice shape. He was very clean. I'm gonna clean his cape up a little bit. That's really the only problem was his cape was a little dirty. And then
Yeah,
that Joker figure, I honestly think that is a Dollar Tree or a Five Below action figure, because he's only articulated at the shoulders and the head. That's the only
Okay.
articulation.
His legs don't even move?
His legs don't move.
Oh,
His
wow.
hips don't move. Like, you can't twist
My
his
goodness.
torso. Like, the only thing that moves on him are his arms go up and down, and his head will turn side to side.
Wow.
But it was a really nice sculpt. That's the really weird thing about a lot of those cheap Dollar Tree, dollar store toys, is a lot of times, yeah, they have they have very minimal articulation, but the sculpts look really nice. And I actually have a whole box of dollar store toys that I've been building for the past couple of years. And I have this dream of, I'm going to shoot a video one day of dollar store toys. And it goes across a wide range of stuff, from DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Ben 10, any number of stuff, Transformers, all of that. And so, but anyway, I threw that figure into the bundle, just because he's really nice. Because I don't know if I've even mentioned to you, I know that you have your Egon jar, your broken
Yeah.
Egon jar project. Well, I'm kind of working on a similar project called I guess I'm going to call it my Joker cage, because probably 3 years ago, in the dollar spot at Target around Halloween, they had this metal cage with a wooden base, and it has a bat on the top, like a metal bat. And I just picked it up thinking, this is kind of cool, Batman themed or bat themed. And so what I've done with it, it's in the comic room, and I have Batman and Robin standing on either side of it. And I started off with just a Caesar Romero Joker figure from the 1966 figures. And so what I started doing in the intervening time is, I will just, every time I pick up a random Joker figure, I'll stick it in the cage. So the cage is filling up with different versions of the Joker.
I like it. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I've got, and so when I picked him up, that was my first thought, is like, he's going in the Joker cage.
Yeah, the thing that gave me the inspiration for the broken tie Egon jar is I saw a guy, and I'd have to find, if I could find it, I'll send it to you. But he had a lamp with a clear base in the middle, and he
Hmm.
filled it up with nothing but Greedo action figures, original old school Star Wars Greedo action figures. And it was just in his comic room. And I was like, I'm going to do something like that one day. I didn't know if I was going to try to copycat and go with Greedo, because that's, I mean, a relatively cheaper figure. Um, but then once, Grant and I started buying all the Ghostbuster toys, and then we realized, like, oh, I've got more than one of these broken tie Egons. And most of the Egons that you find from those ones, the fright feature ones, like, their tie is broken. And so I've picked them up for relatively cheap. I think it was pretty awesome at the toy store. It was Brothers, correct?
Brothers Toys, yes, in
Yeah, Brothers
Burlington.
Toys in Burlington. Yeah, he gave me a good deal on the broken tie Egon, and he
Oh,
thought that that was
he
the
got such
funniest
a
project.
kick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know you were showing him a picture of it. I was looking at something else. I just remember hearing you say, "Are you going to give me a good deal on the broken tie Egon to help me with my broken tie Egon jar?" And I heard the
Yeah.
guy just break out laughing. And I didn't realize you were showing him a picture. I honestly thought, I was like, oh, I guess Chuck's been talking to this guy on Facebook or something, and he just knows about it. I didn't realize you had the picture and you were actually showing it to
No,
him
I
at the
keep
time.
that I keep that with me, and I have been to some places, and I that's one of the first things I ask, hey, do you have any broken tie Egons? And everybody is like so behind it. They want to see it, completed, but most of the time they're like, I have other Ghostbusters, or they'll go digging for things, but they don't. That's the first time I've had someone say, yes, I'm going to give you a deal on this, and yes, I absolutely want to see that project completed. That is definitely going to be the one video. And it would be a super short. I might just put that on Instagram, but and tag Brothers. But I'm going to put the next Egon in the jar, and make that a pretty quick video. Maybe throw some Ghostbusters music on the outside of it and let that be a quick one. I'm hoping, honestly, I mean, it would be super fast and helpful for me if it kind of went viral like that guy with the Titanic VHSs. Now people just send him, and he's got like 10,000 copies of Titanic on VHS. So
That reminds me, there's a YouTuber named Chris James. Uh, it, he is hilarious. He has such a great sense of humor. He reviews old '90s TV shows like reality TV, and not just old '90s. He does Bar Rescue a lot, where he'll do commentary on these reality TV shows. But apparently, at some point, he started also collecting copies of Babe, the movie with the talking pig.
okay,
Babe, and in the back of his video, constantly you just see this ever growing pile because apparently people just constantly send him copies of Babe.
yeah, I mean, it's just funny. I mean, if I
Yeah.
had something sitting around the house and somebody had something like that, I'm definitely donating that. I just
Yeah.
think it's funny.
I
Um,
remember you talking about the jar when you were trying to come up with the final idea. I think your original idea was to use the Muscle Men
well,
figures,
I
but those
yes, and
things turned out to be so expensive to
they
do that.
are. I still have that original jar. And that original jar, the thing that I'm running into on that one is the mouth of the jar is such a small opening. It's going to take something pretty small and maybe even something like a muscle man that's a little bit more pliable. I think I could
Mm,
probably get one of those, like a Star Wars figure would probably fit because they're thin enough.
hmm.
But I mean, muscle men Star Wars figures, you're not getting those for less than $5 a piece.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I,
well, when we
unless you
walked
get
into
lucky,
Brothers, they had a whole end cap with Muscle Men, and I think they were all
they
$5
were
each.
$5 a
And
piece.
so if you were to try to fill up a jar of any size with that, I mean, it's gonna be pricey.
It would be insane. Yeah, I know that Cameron at Collectors Confluence has an old Blockbusters bubblegum machine.
Mm,
And he put like a false layer inside of it, but he did fill it with muscle figures, but it's not completely full. It just looks like it's completely full from the outside, and he has that sitting, I think, at his house, which is that's a neat idea. But
that
yeah,
is
I'll
a great
find
idea.
something.
Yeah.
I'll find something eventually to do in that larger uh, jar, maybe. And if I don't, I'll get rid of that because I bought one. I went out one day and actually took Ghostbusters figures with me to see which one had the correct size in the mouth of the jar. And once I found one, I bought it and I took it home. And so that's the Egon jar. So I still have that other one sitting around and waiting. I think it would look awesome with layers of Legos in different colors. I think that would be a fun project and relatively inexpensive. But maybe I'll get lucky one day and hit a yard sale and they've just got like, 12-gallon Ziploc bags of muscle men, for $5
That'd
each or
be a
something.
nice find. That would be a nice
Then
find.
I'll fill that thing up
Yeah.
and I'll be done with it. But it's there. It's no rush. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we
But
hit
our first stop there, I did
was
want to
great.
mention that I found that right as we were getting ready to leave, we were kind of almost finished, and I looked at that bag of mini comics, the Transformers mini comics,
Yeah,
and so it's like a mixture of mini comics, I guess, that came with different toys, different Transformers toys, and some of them are actually little mini catalogs that would have come. So that was a good find, and then by throwing it in together, I mean, we got an amazing deal. They really I was not expecting that number she threw out on that.
I have learned. I mean, it pays to spend a little bit more time and kind of picking through all of the pieces because if you just buy one piece, it's
Yep.
typically way more expensive. If you
Yep.
bundle a bunch of stuff together, they definitely give you some good deals,
Yeah.
which is always appreciated.
Yeah, well, what I'm gonna do with those is because there are lots of duplicates in there, so I'm planning on I'm gonna pick out a set that I can keep. But then I'm gonna bundle them together in like one of the little paperback plastic bags that we use for the paperbacks. Just put in like a couple of comics, one of the catalogs, something like that, and take them to shows, sell them for $2, something like that. I'm sure some Transformers fans might get a kick out of that.
I mean, I think somebody out there would probably pick those up. And I know
Hmm.
that sticker sheet. I think that sticker sheet should be
Oh
sold
yeah,
by
I
itself.
I need to look that up and see who it belongs to. But yeah, I never, I would never get rid or just I definitely parts and pieces I've learned I need to start keeping those separate because I have tons of like individual pieces that belong to different action figures, like extra hands, heads, and a lot of them I will try to package them with the figure, but then over time I just end up with extras. So I'm just going to start putting those in little bags and start selling them individually because there's going to be someone looking for that.
Yeah, there were a bunch of those at Brothers.
Yes, I did see
The
that.
hands and heads and arms and legs. I know I went through a few milk crates while you were upstairs in the comic room, and it was. I mean, if you're out there and you're putting together some of those
Build a
Marvel figures, the
figures
Build a
or
Figures, they
yeah,
had lots of stuff that were in there that you might be looking for, and they were. I mean, they were very inexpensive,
yeah.
which I thought was pretty awesome. And I that was the one thing that I noticed, and I know that we talked to Mikey a little bit about that. That's way later in the day about how some of the prices on some of the toys have been coming down lately because of all of these like discovered cases upon cases of toys. I know Mask went through that not too long ago when they found like a few like truckloads of original Mask toys, and so their original prices seem to drop some from what they were. Uh, I think there's been some discovered He-Man things lately. Than some of the different He-Man things, the original He-Man, like their prices, they're still very expensive, but not outrageously and untouchable like it used to be. So your stuff that's on card and still in the boxes is still worth a little bit more, obviously, but you can get some of the loose things a little bit cheaper because I know they had some Thundercats figures there that I thought were very fairly priced. If that's what you're collecting, and if I wasn't honing in trying to finish that one collection I'm working on right now with the Fisher Price Adventure people, I may have you know gotten a little deep into some Thundercats yesterday because they were not badly priced at all.
Yeah, I would love for somebody to discover like unknown cases of the Kenner superpowers or the Marvel Secret Wars figures because I'd love to see some prices come down where I could actually afford some of
Yeah.
those on the card.
Yeah, on card stuff is tough to get,
It
man, and
is. It is.
it's understandably a little bit more expensive.
Oh no. Yeah.
And that's fine.
But
That's fine.
yeah, it was that was then after we left that flea market, then we kind of headed east and um, our original plan, I had planned for us to go as far east and then work our way back. But because of scheduling, because we were meeting up with an old friend of mine, Mike Heckman, and we keep saying, I know that we've talked about this, but we're definitely going to have him on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm
Hopefully
excited about
sometime in
that.
the near future, talking about any number of things because he shares a lot of the same loves and interests that we do, and so I'm looking forward to that. But because of scheduling, we kind of re did our plan of attack, and we ended up going to two different McKays, which was kind of cool. I've never really done that before. I usually hit the one in Winston, or if I happen to be in the Alamance County area, I'll go to the one in Medbin. But I rarely ever get to go to both in the same day, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long day. I mean, I know
Oh
when we
yeah,
headed
yeah.
home, Grant was exhausted. It was a long day, but no, it was so much fun though, and it really kind of did fly by. By the time I looked at the clock when we were heading home, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so late. But no, I mean, when we were in Winston, I mean, we had barely stepped in the door, and Grant, over there in the action figures finds another one of the Rambo figures.
Oh yeah,
Uh, so
yeah. The
so
White Ninja.
so yeah, now
Yeah.
I've got the black ninja and the white ninja. I'm looking forward to um, getting on Toy Polloi and finding how he does the whitening of those old yellowed figures. I'm going to look at that and watch that. I'm going to try that out on this guy because he definitely has some yellowing from those older toys that they did that. And I don't know the reason why. I've watched that video. I think I've watched him clean some stormtroopers before, but I really wasn't like, ingesting the information. I was just
Yeah.
kind of almost like ASMR, just enjoying him talking about
Oh
cleaning
yeah.
the
Yeah.
figures and watching the
He
process.
definitely has an ASMR effect going on. He's very
It's
relaxing.
such a good channel
Yeah.
though, man. It really is. So I'm gonna do that and clean him up because I've really enjoyed cleaning up toys. I had those two wrestling figures that I cleaned up. You've seen that. I found a battle troll the other day that was in pretty terrible condition, and I brought him home and cleaned him. And there's just something very peaceful about taking a toy that looks like it is gross and disgusting and being very gentle and getting all of the dirt and love and grime off of it and returning it to its original shine, and then having it there. And I mean, I'll probably keep one of those wrestlers. The other one will be part of our table stuff when we do our next show. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
but you know,
I have a few things that I kind of picked up yesterday that will probably end up on the table whenever we do another show, which we've been actively looking for other shows to do. There may be some coming up in the next month or so that we hopefully we can get tables, or the tables are affordable. But yeah, I had a great day. Actually, our first trip to McKay's, I immediately picked up a figure that I almost bought it. I did end up putting it back at the end just because, I wasn't trying to shoot my bolt in one place. I um, so I ended up putting it back because it was a little on the pricey side. But it was a Killer Moth action figure from the Batman, the cartoon from the mid 2000s. One of my favorite Batman cartoons. Um, it's a cool toy with a toy action. It's a water spitting gun because he looks insectoid in that. And but I did put that back. I do regret a little bit not buying it,
yeah,
but
but you got, in my opinion, you got a
I
better
got
water spitting toy later.
no, I did, yeah. And but I ended up I had made myself. I was telling myself before we even started yesterday that I'm going to put a moratorium. I'm not buying any comic books because I'm in the middle of organizing my comic
Yeah.
collection. The last thing I need to do is be bringing more comic books in. That went out the window immediately because we were looking at the 75-cent boxes at McKay's. Found a nice run of Elric comics from Eclipse, which is an indie comic company back in the 80s, and just beautiful art. And they were all 75 cents, so I loaded up on those. One of my favorite finds, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll actually see it, is a Scholastic Borders exclusive hardcover compilation of the movie novelizations of the Indiana Jones movies, the first three, and in my opinion, the only three. Um, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. And this thing is a blast. It's got they kept in the photo inserts that most movie novels and Scholastic books had. So you get lots of color images from the
Oh, those were the
movies.
best. I mean,
Oh yeah.
anytime I find those books, when you just hold the book kind of level on its spine, it opens automatically to those pages. Because I think we
Yes. Yeah.
spent more time looking at the pictures from the
Oh
movies, and
yeah.
we definitely
Yeah.
read the book. But I mean, it
Yeah.
was so fun to like flip through and see the scenes,
Oh
and
no.
that was our only way to relive the movie.
I literally can remember when I first got the Star Wars storybook from a Scholastic book fair, which we've mentioned multiple times how much we love the Scholastic book fairs. I studied the pictures in that like people study the Zapruder films. I mean, I knew those things pixel by pixel because, like you said, you might get to see the movie once, and and especially with things like Star Wars, they didn't really come to TV for years, and so I probably saw Star Wars when it was first came out in 1977. I probably saw it twice. I do think I went to the theater to see it two different times. And then I probably didn't see it again until it finally came out on VHS.
That's, I mean, that's, I don't think people understand that these days.
No, well,
That
now
is such a,
nowadays it's a completely different
yeah,
world. Unfortunately, I think it's an unfortunate thing. We live in a world where a lot of times movies are only in a theater for a week or two and before they're dropped on some streaming service somewhere.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
that kills some of the magic of the movies. I mean, yes, it's incredibly expensive to go to the movies now. I'm yes, I know that. Um, but there is still something to me, as an old guy, there's something magical about going to the theater.
There is. I'm very thoughtful and very picky about what I go to
Hmm.
see.
Me too. I
And
have to,
so,
and that's the downside to the high prices is you have to be
yeah,
now.
I think I might still be, even if the prices weren't outrageous. It's just not a lot of fun to sit through a mediocre or even worse, a bad movie. I mean, I remember leaving Lawnmower Man 2, it just like
Oh
just
no,
left.
I sat through the whole thing. I sat the see. I have a different feeling on that because back when we were kids into teenagers, especially teenagers. Once I could drive, I mean, movies still weren't incredibly expensive. And then if you went to a matinee, it was even cheaper. I mean,
Oh, those were definitely
yeah,
cheap. Yeah.
going to the matinees back in the late '80s, early '90s, where it still cost, were only like a couple of bucks to get in the
Yeah.
theater, and even popcorn and a drink wasn't crazy expensive. But I remember my friend Kenneth and I, we were really close all through from elementary school through high school and college. There were plenty of times we were like, well, what do you want to do tonight? I don't know. We would look in the paper to see what was playing. And even if there was nothing we were really interested in, we'd still pick something and go see a movie because it wasn't that expensive. It was fun to go. It's fun. Even if the movie was terrible, we'd figure out something. We'd end up talking crap about it, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
Whereas nowadays, I have to make sure I'm going to like
yeah.
this movie to justify the expense of going to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why you didn't get in as much trouble as I did. You were you were at the movies while me and my friends were out researching the most haunted places in Asheville or Winston or
Oh no,
wherever,
that yeah.
and heading out there to
Y'all were the
research that.
early urban explorers, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we did a good bit of that. I mean, we played a lot of basketball. So if there wasn't something really fun going on, and now we did spend, once we got a little bit older, we spent a lot of time. You can ask Laura about this. We spent a lot of time at Ziggy's
Oh yeah, yeah.
listening to live music. So instead of going to a movie, now there were a lot of times I went to Ziggy's and the band was terrible, but it was just a live music night. So
Yeah.
that's probably where I spent my time.
I didn't live close enough.
Yeah.
Ziggy's was over an hour drive for me from where, and we didn't really have anything like that kind of in Burlington or even in Greensboro. I mean, there were a couple of things in Greensboro, but nothing like Ziggy's where, there were new bands like all the time. We didn't really have anything like that, or I'm sure we would have been doing that too. I guess the movies kind of were our thing because um, we had I still remember going to the Terrace Theater in Burlington. It had two screens, and but then we had another theater which was also a first run theater which also only had two screens. They were on opposite sides of town, and thankfully they never, even though they were both first run, because they were only two screens, they were more selective, so you wouldn't we there were rarely any cases where they were both showing the same thing. So we had a fairly then we had the Graham Cinema, which was a second run theater, and we would go there. Like growing up as a kid, Graham was that was the place to go because it was actually an old theater. It had a balcony we would always sit in the balcony because you had like on the front row of the balcony, you had the best view
Oh yeah.
in the whole
Yeah,
place.
that downtown in downtown Mount Airy at their movie theater is in an
Yeah.
old theater just like that. And yeah, I love to
Yeah,
sit
sit in the
in the
front row of the
balcony.
balcony was amazing. And there, it literally cost $1. Like my entire
Yep.
childhood, it was $1 to get in, even at night. Like, and so, w- I was a much bigger movie nerd as a child than I am as an adult. Like, I still like the movies. I'm kind of, but as a kid, like I said, I would take any opportunity to go to the movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a lot of drive-ins too, because the drive-ins would have the new movie and then they would show something old and really cool.
Yeah, yeah. We did not have a we had a drive-in in Alamance County, the Circle G. Anybody listening to this who grew up in Alamance County, they'll know what the Circle G is. It was a porn drive-in, like they showed X-rated movies, and of course, as when you reach a certain age, as after puberty, during and after puberty, you're interested in what they're showing. But I mean, we didn't actually have an actual legit drive-in theater.
Yeah.
If we wanted a drive-in, the closest one, there was one in Hillsboro, which wasn't terribly far from us that we could go, that did. And then there was the one in Kernersville. But again, for me growing up in Burlington, that was
That's a
like
drive.
almost an hour drive. That's
Oh yeah.
almost an hour drive. But later on we did go to quite a few. I remember seeing some really good movies at that drive-in. I wish it were still there.
I do wish there were some more drive-ins. They're just so far and few in between now. And I know they're expensive to operate. I know that you are on a very limited time schedule with the drive-in. I understand all the negatives. I just hate that I think it was, I want to say it was the Bright Leaf in Mount Airy. That was the one that Cassandra and I went to the most. And I mean, throughout the kids, when they were little, they would stay awake for the first one, and then we would give them a bottle, and they would sleep through the second. It was the only way we could really go to the movies as parents. So it was a lot of fun. Well, let's not spend our whole time on the movies because I don't want people to miss out on the awesome day that
Oh
we
yeah,
had,
yep.
because it really was a great day. So we knocked out some cool stuff in Winston, and we left McKay's there and got on the highway and made our way. I think
We went to Brothers next. That was our next
yeah,
stop in Burlington, was at Brothers,
Brothers in
which
Burlington.
is never a disappointment. I'm always finding something cool there. I ended up getting you pointed it out to me. I ended up getting the Burger King kids meal Creature from the Black Lagoon, which you're
Yep,
right, that was a better water squirting toy than the
it
Killer
is.
Moth. Yeah, that was a great find. And then of course I got my I actually almost passed this up because I didn't think it was an official Marks figure. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting to see this perfect example of a Marks astronaut from 1967. So this figures 2 years before the moon landings, 2 years before my landing on this planet. So, but yeah, I actually was going to pass it up because the bottom, normally the way to tell official Marks figures is normally there are two large circles, and one of them will have an imprint with the name of the company and what year it was made. And this one, these were so small at first when I looked at it, I didn't realize there was any writing in there. And I finally had to take my phone and zoom in. And sure enough, this is an official Marks figure. So, and for $10, that's actually a steal for a lot of those, especially considering the condition because he's white. And those things are so hard to find clean.
They are, and I mean, it doesn't happen often. I mean, you just don't find
Yep,
Marks
you're right.
figures in the wild often. Now I know I found
Now you
those
did.
Marvel
We're
ones.
still
Well, I
waiting
mean,
on the video of that one.
well, yeah, I did. That's a once in a lifetime occurrence. But like, I have since found the Marvel figures at an antique store, but they want $35 per a piece.
Hmm.
That's just that could be, I guess, if you want to call it a fair price. I think that's a little more than I would say is a fair price for those. They are rare, but I don't think they're that rare. But again, that's somebody that has it in an antique store. If I ever see them get down into the $10 range, I'd probably would buy them all for you.
Oh yeah, I would. I
I
would
mean,
definitely be fine with that. The thing with a lot of the Marks figures are that they did come in so many. Like every character came in a different color,
yeah,
usually, and if you're a true completionist, that's the tough part of that is trying to collect every figure in every color. Thankfully, I think the astronaut set's going to be a little better because I believe those only came in white. I think
I've
they
only ever
only were
seen them
white.
in white.
Yeah, me too.
I've only ever seen white.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, that was that. I'll be honest with you. I think that is a very
'Cause-
slept on toy store. It's in such a quiet little place. Burlington is not a very loud and boisterous place to be anyway. Everything there is very slow and old Mayberry time, which is the way that I like it. But when I was driving home, part of the quiet time when we were driving home, when we were just kind of in our own worlds, I was starting to think about what are my, favorite toy stores.
Mhm.
And I started to think about what would be the criteria to make my favorite toy store. And so, I think you would need a variety of toys, and they definitely hit the variety of toys because they
Mhm.
have a little bit of everything there. I
Mhm.
think you have to have good prices, and they have fantastic prices. Something that we'll touch on here in a little bit, you have to have personable people that are there for the customer,
Yeah.
and
Well.
they
Yeah. Yep.
they
Yeah.
crushed that. They were definitely, I mean, I think they asked us like probably 10 times if we needed help, if we were finding the stuff we were looking for. They answered every question that we had. And the more I started thinking about those criterias, it really started making me think a little bit more about some of the places that I frequent often and how maybe they're not, maybe it is worth a little bit of an extra drive and some extra time to go back there because I mean, they really do hit on everything, and
Yeah,
it's
well,
it.
and I think that that criteria can be expanded beyond just a toy store. I would say, like comic book
Comic
stores
book store
or
will work. Yep.
pop culture stores in general,
I,
because that's always been a complaint uh, about comic stores too. Is that a lot of comic stores you go into, the people that work there or own the place are a bit on the surly side, and or they or the places are dirty or disorganized or whatever, and I've seen plenty of that in my life because a lot of these businesses, I'm going to use air quotes on that, they're not being run as a business, they're being run as this guy's hobby, I'll be honest, a lot of times that leaves you with bad experiences. And yeah, we're going to talk
yeah.
about one
Yeah,
coming
we
up because
definitely.
we
Yeah, we'll
have
definitely
our
talk about that.
yeah, we'll do our little war story bit in a bit in just a little bit. But no, brothers. Every time we've gone there, they've been attentive. They have a nice selection. They have some new stuff. Like I noticed they had an end cap with some of the new Supergirl toys from McFarlane. So they do have a few new things. But man, you go there to find the stuff from your childhood, the
And
80s, the
they have it.
90s, all of that. And they have a lot of it. Actually, one thing I left behind yesterday, I didn't even mention it to you guys because we were all just looking in every direction. But they actually had a Mach 5 from Speed Racer. They were asking 20, which totally fair because it was from like 1995, I think, still on the card. And I'm like, not saying it's not a fair price. It is a fair price. I was just like, there were other things I wanted to buy, and I didn't want to spend all my money in one place.
Yeah, that's the only if there's a complaint about that store is, and heaven forbid you have ADD like I do, like you can ping pong around that store quick, man, because
Yep.
there's just so much stuff
Yep.
everywhere to get into. I never even made it upstairs. Is it all comics?
It's all comics. It's all comics. Yep.
I mean, who knows what I may have missed another run of Mad Balls or so. I have no idea. I
Yeah.
just
Now,
was
and the
so
nice thing
enthralled.
about their comic room, they do. I would say 2/3 of the room are dollar boxes. which
Oh
I
man,
love dollar boxes. But
I do too.
I could literally, I would need to go there one day and just spend the whole day there to go through every dollar box because they're long boxes. And like I said, they have a nice back issue selection. I found some really nice things in the back issues. I didn't end up buying any because, like I said, I was trying to be good on bringing the
Yeah.
comics home. But they do carry a few new comics. I will say their new comic selection isn't. They have one little section of one wall that's new comics. But to
Okay.
be honest, that's not why I would go there. I don't care about new comics. I have a new comic subscription from Sailfish, so I'm good.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
good there. But I could go there, like literally as you walk up the stairs, there's a little hallway, and then you take a right to go into the main room. That entire hallway is just tables of dollar boxes. Well, then you walk in, and the entire perimeter of the room is dollar boxes. And then there are some tables in the middle that have their regular back issue stock. So I could have spent the rest of the afternoon just going through the dollar boxes.
But I mean, but and then even if you did that within either it's a 2 minute walk or a 5 minute drive, two fantastic places to eat.
Oh yeah, you
So
have
you either get
Zach's.
hot
If you
dogs
want a
at
good hot
Zach's.
dog, go to Zach's. That's right across the street.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we ate at, and is it
Blue
the?
Ribbon. It's Blue
I was going to
Ribbon.
say Blue Bell, but the Blue Ribbon Diner, and that was amazing,
Yep.
and great service. I mean,
Well, let's not
I
forget
think,
we went into Multiverse too. That's right around the corner
yeah,
from
I mean,
Brothers. That's a game store.
if
So
you're into gaming,
yeah,
yeah,
didn't
that's
really
definitely a cool store.
it really wasn't up our alley. I'm glad we went in. It's a very nice store. The owner was very friendly. It's just that it's a lot of Warhammer miniatures, a lot of card games.
A lot of card games.
They do sell some non-sports trading cards that you were interested in, and
Yeah.
we had to get you out of there before you dropped a bomb on yourself.
Well, I mean, I there was a few of those all day because that Doctor Doom blind bag was
Oh
also
yes,
tempting
yeah,
because there's just there's something I love taking a chance. I love those. I mean, that's the one thing that John and I do when we get together. We buy cards, and it's literally just it's lottery tickets in a different form. You're not doing any scratching. You just open it up and you either win
yeah.
or you don't win. And the good thing with cards and comic books is you're not left with a piece of trash. They're like a scratch off card. You still have the cards, you still
You
have
still
the
have a
comic
comic,
books.
right? You have
Yeah, so
something, yeah,
you didn't lose, you just didn't get the thing you were hoping for. So yeah,
right, yeah.
I had again I had to keep reminding myself as well. There are very specific things that you're here for. Sure, you could spend the money now, but if you do that, you're going to find a giant pile of,
Right,
Fisher
right,
Price adventure people, and then you're going to be mad. So I
right,
just kind of
right.
held off, which was it was the smart
Well,
thing to do in the long run.
I will say I get the gambling aspect of that and how you're like you said you're still getting something. You still have the
Oh yeah.
cards. You can enjoy the art. You have all so you're not just having a piece of trash. But I will say, boy, that's a lot to let ride on a chance of trying it. Because what those cards? They were Marvel cards. What were you gonna
Like they're
get? Like, what's
22
the
Fleer Ultras. I mean, the autographs would have been cool, but I wanted some of the cut comics. So they
right?
would cut a piece out of an old comic and put that inside of the card. Probably also have the artist autograph the card.
Yeah.
And those things are just neat to have. Because I know when
That
we
would be neat, but I mean that's $15 a pack. So it's
it is.
$15 a roll to see if you're gonna
It
get one
is.
of those.
But
Yeah.
remember when we were in Gettysburg, at that
Yeah.
store, I bought that pack of Doctor Who cards, and I got one of the special cards out
No,
of the
that's
pack.
amazing. That store was awesome. We'll have to go
Yeah,
down that memory lane another day because that store that was a fun trip to Gettysburg, and I never would have expected downtown Gettysburg to have. It actually had two. It had a comic book store, and then it had a gaming store too, which
yep.
was really cool. Uh, that's something we should put a pin in that and walk down that memory lane on an episode one day.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So we had a great lunch, good conversation at lunch at the diner. and then we kind of got in contact with Keith and figured out
No,
he was going to be
no,
right.
Mike.
I
Mike.
mean, Mike. My bad, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
we
of the
went
other
to
person.
Keith's records,
Yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
we went to,
Yeah,
yeah,
We stopped by. That was a quick stop in, just trying to find a very third thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking
yeah,
of. I
and
was
then we
like, I got
met
ahead of
with
myself.
Mike at
Mike
McKay's in
at
Mebane. Yep.
McKay's, and McKay's was awesome. That McKay's is always great.
It is always good. The only I will say though, and we mentioned this, the one thing I will say, I love both stores. Don't get me wrong, but I think the Winston Salem store has an edge over the Mebane store. For one thing, is they have like multiple. I mean, there's probably what 8 to 10 dens out in the front that are just free books
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
if you're looking for
Whereas
free bin
at
stuff,
the Mebane store, always they have two. I think they have two bins at
yeah.
the front, and I cannot tell you how many great, amazing things we've just found in the free bins out in front of the Winston Salem store. So if there's one thing I think gives the Winston Salem store the edge, it's that.
Oh, that I mean, and that vestibule where the free bin is can get overwhelming. I
Yes.
mean, you
Oh
can
yeah.
have more people in the vestibule than you do the store
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It was kind
because
of that
they
way
do.
when we came out yesterday morning. It
They
was.
put, but they put such good stuff, and
Hmm.
you just walk. You watch people walk out because of the things that they didn't sell, and they'll just dump it in the free bin. And it's sometimes you're like, well, how in the world is this in the free bin?
Yeah. Yep.
You just question like, how is that? How is this in there? Because this is such a good book. And I
Oh
know
no.
that
Yeah.
you picked up. I mean, I thought you made talked about maybe doing a video about some books
I
that you picked
still
up.
have Laura and I went to McKay's. This has been months ago now, and I think they had just filled up one of the bins with tons of mass market paperbacks, sci-fi, fantasy, romance, which she likes. Um, there were history ones. Like I actually found a mass market paperback on the history of the space race that was published in the like early 70s. And we literally walked out. I mean, I don't think we even really bought anything in the store, but we walked out with a box full of free books, and I still have those in the comic room, sitting right beside my filming table, ready to just shoot a video. Because that's
Wow.
I do. I just want to go through it. It's not really going to have any rhyme or reason because, like I said, um, these were all probably from the there are some as far back as the 50s all the way. I don't think any of them are older than the mid 70s. And just beautiful. And some of them are trashed, some of them are okay, and then some of them are like brand new. And so I do plan on shooting just a stream of consciousness. I may even bag some of them in our paperback bags, but I may just shoot it and just and do a little commentary as I'm looking through it because I don't even remember everything that's in there.
Yeah, my favorite find there ever, probably the A Team, the official A Team handbook, a hardback
Oh
book
yeah,
all about the
yeah.
A Team, and I'm like, how is this sitting in the free
Oh,
bin?
I know.
Although that Dungeons and Dragons board game that Cassandra found that day was pretty awesome too.
That was cool. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool. And that's the thing. Sometimes with the games and things, yes, they're going to be rough. They're rough, but a lot of things like that Dungeons and Dragons game, I haven't seen it in any condition. So
yeah,
like that was
yeah.
kind of a first time.
I might need to steal the idea that from one of the antique stores. I think it's at Lost in Time. They have a Dukes of Hazard. They have just the board in a frame
Mhm.
on the
Mhm.
wall, and it looks nice. It looks
Yeah.
nice. I mean, because most of that game is trashed, um, and it's just sitting there. So if I could get the board up and have it looking nice, I think that would be kind of cool.
Mhm.
Because I'm not going to do much else with it. Because there's no saving the box. The box is really bad. But yeah, I mean, but I do like the McKays in Mebane. I
I
think
do
that
too. I do too.
they tend to get when they get really good large collections in. Like I've never found original Star Wars figures in Winston, but I did yesterday in Mebane. I was able to find the driver for the AT-AT,
Mhm.
which I'm
Did you
excited
pick up the
because
snow trooper too?
I actually put the Snow Trooper back. I know he was nice. He had his backpack, which you never see. But I was buying. Oh my gosh, I bought Cassandra like 8 books or something.
Oh, right,
Um,
right, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it was a lot to go up for. I'm definitely not kicking myself because, like I told Grant, I was like, collecting all of the Star Wars figures is will be fun, but that's going to be a very expensive venture, especially when you get into some of the figures. And right now, I'm really focusing. I want to get that Fisher Price line knocked out, and try to stay with that. But I mean, when you find, I found some weird stuff at Brothers that you just never see. And I was like, I've got to pick that up. I'll never see another Arco figure. You just don't find those on a daily basis. Star Wars figures. I mean, I could go to Rebel Base in Charlotte and probably pick up three-fourths or if not more of them if I really wanted to do that because yeah,
But you've gotta pay the yeah, yeah, you're
you would
not
have, yeah.
necessarily gonna get a deal,
I
per
wouldn't get
se.
a deal. And then there's the place in Archdale. I mean, the antique store that has the whole Star Wars room. At the antique store, that whole specialized Star Wars room, you could get a lot of the action
Yeah, we
figures
need to
there.
go to that guy again, because I met him at a convention a few years ago, and he had the, Hoth the
Yep.
cardboard Hoth playset. It had a cardboard AT-AT. He had a loose one, and I was really tempted to buy that one. It was in decent shape. And while I was talking to him, he mentioned, "Oh well, I actually have another one at my shop that's still in the box." And we talked about a price, and he's like, I'd probably sell it for this, and but I never got out there to get it. And then the last couple of times we have gone there, he's not there,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, the one time we did go there and I actually saw the thing he was talking about, it didn't have a price on it, and they couldn't really get in touch with him. So that's a downer. I'm like, oh, okay, well, so and we haven't been back since then. Although I did, that's the day I ended up getting the black hole lunchbox. So it was a good day
Yeah, that
anyway.
was cool.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
great find on that back wall too, and it was, I forget how much off, like 25 or 40 or something like
Yeah,
that off.
it
So
was marked 85 and I think it was 20% off maybe. Yeah, so I was still happy with what I took home that day.
no, that one was great.
Yeah.
That was great. But so yeah, great time. Uh,
We got to hang
at
out and talk to Mike and his daughter a little bit
Yeah, and
and
Mike is really cool. I know that I kind of left and let you guys chat since you've been friends for much longer, but just listening to him, he seems to be very excited and very passionate about comic books, which I thought was awesome. I love the fact that he was there with his daughter and was like letting her pick things out too, because um, you just don't see that often.
right, right.
Parents out with their kids, and taking them back and forth to comic shops and everybody being excited. I mean, I know that I'm very lucky that Grant is as dorky as he is, and he likes to
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
those places with us.
Logan is definitely a big nerd like me, but about different stuff. Like he's
Yeah.
not into comics the way I am. He likes them. He grew up with superheroes, of course, with me as his dad, but he's definitely his nerdiness goes in other directions. So, like when we go to McKay, he loves going to McKay's too. He lives in Burlington, so I know he goes to McKay's pretty regularly, but he's always looking for different stuff than I am. He's not going to be in the back digging through the comic boxes, but that was great to see. Mike, I've known him since he was in high school. He was one of my regulars at Rocket Comics. And so I'm just glad that we were able to reconnect. And yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always good. Like I said, he's actually just recently restarted his comic collecting. He had not been doing it for years, and
Huh.
so I guess I'd like to take a little credit that when after we reconnected, I kind of pushed him back to the dark side again, and he's back. He's starting his collection again.
Yeah, I noticed him picking up a lot of different Punisher stuff too. Is he
Oh
a
yeah,
big Punisher fan?
he's working on a Punisher run right now. Yep.
I need to chat with him about what he thinks about the Netflix series. Does he like the
We're gonna,
Bernthal portrayal?
I definitely want, once we are able to get him on the podcast, we'll arrange a schedule. I think we got a lot of topics I would love to talk to him about.
I
Like,
think we could talk for an hour about Ultraman though.
oh yeah, Ultraman, Star Blazers.
Yeah.
He was really excited about our recent after school cartoons episode because that brought back a lot of memories. And so yeah, we're gonna have a lot of things to talk about. But yeah, the Punisher run, that be yeah, or just your feelings on different people's feelings on the TV shows or the movies or whatever. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I wonder if he's ever played that Sega game. I love the Sega
Oh, I
Punisher
have
game.
no doubt. I have no doubt.
That game is awesome. Have you played
I
that?
I do remember the Sega Genesis Punisher game. I don't remember that I've ever played it. I do remember that when we had Rocket Comics, um, like I couldn't afford to buy a arcade cabinet outright, but there was a company in the area where you could rent them. Like they would bring and set it up in your location, and basically you would just get a cut of the any money it made
Okay.
for sitting there. And they, once a game stopped kind of turning over, they would come swap it out. And I remember, and there are pictures, if people go to rocketcomics.com, I have a little memories page about Rocket Comics, and in a lot of the photographs you'll see some of the arcade cabinets we had in the store. We had the 4-player TMNT game, we had the 2-player Terminator game where with the Uzis, it had like
Oh
the
yeah.
little Uzis. But I know at a different point we had Captain America and the Avengers,
I love that game too.
and we had the Punisher. We had the Punisher arcade game that was, I want to say that was, I can't remember if that was a single player or if that was also, I think that also had a multiplayer function where two players could play at the same time because it was like a side scrolling shoot 'em up.
It's definitely a side scroller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now that you mentioned, I'm trying to think if we actually sat down and played that as two players or not, and I don't remember, but I do remember. I mean, I spent more than my fair share of money on that TNMT game
Yeah, one
with
that,
me and my
the
friends. Holy
company that
cow!
makes the cabinets now that you can buy at Sam's Club or Walmart,
Yeah,
one
yeah. One
player
up.
or one up. Okay. I do know that they have a Marvel one of those cabinets, because that would be one of the ones I'd be intrigued to buy because it actually has Captain America and the Avengers. It has the X-Men 4-player game.
That game
Uh,
was awesome.
yeah, I don't remember if we had Mike. If when you're listening to this, you'll have to make a comment and remind me if we had the X-Men game. I want to think we might have, but I can't remember. Um, but it also has the Punisher game, and I think there's actually a Spider-Man game that was, with the cartoon going on around that same time. I want to say I want to say that there was a Spider-Man game. But anyway, that one up cabinet has 4 or if or maybe 5, but I do remember the Punisher is one of those games.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up when we get off tonight because that
Yeah,
sounds
because that
awesome.
would be that if I was gonna buy one of those, like I see the NBA Jam one at Sam's Club all the time. The one I would be interested in actually making room in my house for would be that
Yeah, I could definitely see that
one.
for certain. But yeah, we picked up some cool stuff there.
Then we
And then
ended up going to Totally Awesome Comics,
did
also in
straight to
Mebane,
Totally Awesome Comics right there, Mebane.
and that
And
never
again,
disappoints
another
either. Yeah.
no, very slept on comic book store, very quiet place. And I just don't think it gets enough attention. And it's mainly because of Mikey. I mean, he just makes it such a unique experience when you go and you feel like you're the only person in the store
Oh yeah, yeah.
because he makes sure to talk to everyone that comes in on a personal level, and he kind of gets to know what you're into, and he has very detailed conversations. It's not just the hey, welcome to the store, let me know if you need anything. No, he's talking to you about the things that you like. I mean, I'm in a comic book store talking to him about a purple footed Mexican print of a Skeletor. He-Man action figure, which has nothing to do with, I mean, adjacent to what he's doing, but he has none of those things in the store.
Well, that's the thing. He does have some toys.
Some, yeah,
They and of course, Pokemon cards are another big part of their business, and that's
yeah,
not. See, if whenever Logan and I go there together, that's the one time where I Logan's not going to be bored because I'm into the comics and he's really not, because he's going to be all over the Pokemon card stuff, and
yeah.
so that's going to be a good time. But no, he always has a great selection of comics. I always find some bargains. Like I said yesterday, I was trying to be good and not bring home a lot of comics, but every place I went, I think I left with some comics.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, although
um,
there are some good ones. Those, and I got a great deal because your side project right now is the Fisher Price Adventure People.
yep,
My side project at the moment is trying to collect all of the Marvel 25th anniversary frame covers
yep.
from like 1985. So, and I've been putting that collection together. I realized the thing that made me decide I wanted to do that is I realized as I was going through things, hey, I have quite a few of these. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to get the rest of them. And then I find out that all of the kid comics from that time are the rarest ones and they're the most expensive ones. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I did find another one. I found Amazing Spider Man. Uh,
Yeah, but that one's awesome, man.
and it was an
What a great
awesome one
cover.
with that was black suit Spider-Man. That was a great one. It was $10. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a
I
great
know.
deal. That was actually in his boxes of new stock too, because that was the thing he told us as we walked in. We just had a really big restock this week, and they still had boxes of stuff that they were working into the inventory. But instead of just having it in a back room or anywhere, he had the boxes on the counter so you could go through them, even though they weren't finished sorting them in yet, which and so that worked out for me.
It did, as opposed to what
And
we'll
this
get
will
to in a
lead
few
into a
minutes.
later story. Yes,
It
this
will.
will.
But I think the other thing that was so positive that happened there is Grant was very interested in that run of Smile. I don't know what that
Smile for the
comic is.
camera.
Smile
Yes.
for the camera, and he didn't happen to have issue one. And so when Grant went and bought issues two, three, and four, he was like, "I feel bad for not having one. I'm just going to let you have one of those for free."
Oh my god,
which
I know.
which is ridiculous. Like, that's what that's no, it's not your fault that you sold all your comics, which is what you're supposed to do, which I thought was just awesome. And it made a huge impression on Grant. I don't know that Mikey really understands. I mean, Grant was just he was blown away. He's like, I don't understand. He's like, that's the coolest thing that's ever happened in a comic book store to me.
Yeah.
So now I promise you the next time we go there, he'll end up buying something just
Hmm.
because of how nice and how accommodating he was. And in that same sense, though, you made a phone call to Sailfish and they didn't have it, but they went ahead and ordered one.
Yeah, and I called just to check to see if they happen to have one, because we could have ridden right by there
Oh
on the
yeah,
way home, and they were of course like, no, we don't have it. Let me see if I can order it. And they are like, yep, I can still get it. And I was like, if you wouldn't mind just throwing one back for me. And the thing that really impressed me talking to Steven on the phone is, I guess it's just an indication of how much I probably called him too much, but he recognized who I was. He was like, "Yeah, we'll put that back for you."
that's pretty
So
awesome, man.
so that I mean that was again, the guys at Sailfish in Greensboro are uh I I mean, all the Sailfish stores are great, but I can't recommend enough going to either the Greensboro store, and especially the owners are Stephen and Jay there. They're both great guys. Or going to the one in Concord. Colton is that dude is amazing, and I've gotten so many great deals. I haven't seen, like, I only see him every few years, maybe every few months, depending on if we go to conventions or stuff. He always remembers me. He always remembers what I'm into. And I walked in there. I remember when that store had first opened, I walked in there and he's like, I know you love Bronze Age horror. Just got this big collection in. Would you be interested in going through it? Because it was still in the back. Like, he was like, we haven't done anything with this yet. So I started going through them, and before it was over, I was pulling out so many things. I was finally like, what would you take for all of them? And so
Yeah.
we worked out a deal, and I left with 8 short boxes of comics that day, and I
That's
was like,
crazy.
That was awesome." Luke was actually with me,
Okay.
because it was like a 4th of July holiday back during COVID. Things were just starting to kind of open up again. And our mother-in-law and Luke's grandmother and Luke were staying with Laura and me at our apartment, and so we had planned to go to Concord Mills that weekend, and we did, and the shop is near Concord Mills, and so
Okay.
so yeah, so I'm walking out of there. I'm like, all right, y'all might be riding back with a box of comics in your lap.
In your lap. Yep. I'll have to. I'm gonna put a note down though. When I'm in Charlotte.
Oh yeah, when
uh,
you're going to be in Charlotte for work,
Yeah, when
definitely
on the way
definitely
back,
check
I'll
out
try to swing by
Sailfish in
Shellfish.
Concord. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm on the other end of Charlotte, but on the way back, I'll because I think that last day that I should get out early enough that we can on the way back make it by the store before they close. That'll
Yep.
be often. So we left there, and I think we were all kind of tired and really were debating on what should we do anything else. But we decided to make one last stop at a store in Greensboro,
Mhm.
and look through for some of the toys and comics and stuff, and see if we could find anything else. Did you find anything there? I think you ended up
I
getting. Did
did.
you
I
get
got
something?
I got the I got issue 8 of the Space 1999
That's right, the
magazine from
Space
Charlton. Yeah.
1999. Yep. And so, I looked around. Obviously, at the end of the day, I was really laser focused on trying to find some Fisher Price people. No luck. I kind of struck out the whole day on the Fisher Price people, which was fine. It was a great day of finds. Um, so that was unfortunate, but it was really cool that you're able to get that magazine in such good condition.
Yeah, it was
But I
nice.
think that was the only negative part of our day,
That
though.
was the experience of the day that at the end left a bad taste in our mouths about
Yeah,
our experience there. And I'm going to preface that by saying we're not going to mention the name of the store. We're not trying to throw
no,
anybody under the bus here, but this was this was an example of what I consider what we were talking about earlier, what makes a good business, uh, or especially when you're in an industry like pop culture. um, this is an example. This is an example of a bad experience, because, and I
yeah,
would I would also say that it would be different if this had never happened before. But I can honestly say, we were discussing it later. Every time you and I have ever been
yeah,
there at the same time, this has happened to
every time.
some degree or another. This has happened, and it's just it's why, like, I don't know. Yes, I'll go back. I'll be going back, but I'll be honest. I don't really recommend that store very much to other people. Um,
I'm not going to. I mean,
yeah,
if somebody, when I see those posts of, "Hey, I'm driving from Wilmington and I'm heading to Boone, what toy store should I stop at on the way?" I always throw Collectors Confluence out there.
now with our
Brothers
brothers, yeah,
Brothers is going to be in there. I might talk about Recollect if they happen to be going through the Midway area as a place to stop. But yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to mention this one because I
well, do
just
you
don't
want
know
to
what kind of
get? Do you want to
experience.
give the listeners kind of a down low on what happened, what the situation
So,
was?
we've mentioned earlier in the day that some of the places that we've been are very well organized and clean. This place was kind of the opposite. You would have to step over
Mm,
unprocessed boxes of things. And if this was a tiny little store like the one down here on Renolda Road at Chester's, I would
right.
understand because he has no
Yeah.
room there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Chester's is
that's
also kind of disorganized, but
yes,
he's also a super friendly guy who will
he is
talk you, and he'll help you with anything he can.
absolutely.
But you're right. It's a it's probably a
But this
thousand
place is
square feet.
huge.
And this place
Yeah,
is big. Yes.
it's huge. And so things are kind of all over the place. And it's happened. This is like you said, it's happened very often with us. They have boxes of things sitting in different places, and you see something that you really want. And I saw something that I really, really wanted. And their answer was, Oh, we haven't processed that yet. Okay, I understand that. You get in a lot of collections, not a problem. I know at Collectors Confluence, they get something in and they're like, hey, look what we just found. I can send them a direct message and they're like, give me a minute. And then like 2 minutes later, like, it's this much. Go ahead and come in and pick it up. We've set it to the side for you.
Well, and certainly at Collectors Confluence, if you were standing in their store and
Anything.
saw something and said, "Hey, can I have a look at that?" They're going to go, "Yeah," and they're going to work out a deal with you even if they
Yeah.
haven't processed it yet because
And so,
they're there to
yeah,
sell. They know that they're there to sell stuff. And hey, I've got a live customer who's interested in this, right? Whether I have priced it or not, whether I got it in 5 minutes ago, let's work out a
yes.
deal and it's going out the door today.
And
And that,
so it was one of the things I would have to put that in some of my top collections. One of the
yeah,
things I'm pretty passionate about. And it would have been I mean, this is, and I think this is where it's like super disappointing. It would have enhanced my collection greatly.
yeah.
And it would have put some very amazing pieces into that collection. But their answer was, we haven't processed that yet.
It took,
There,
like you said yesterday, it took an act of Congress just to let you look at it.
yeah. And so there was no comment of, hey, we're really sorry, we haven't processed that yet. Let me take your number. We'll call you. There wasn't an offer to, hey,
Or
let
be-
us look this up really
or
quick.
even better yet, hey, let me look
Yeah.
this up and we'll work out a deal on
And
what you're
work out a deal
interested
right
in.
now, like the comic books you mentioned. None
Yeah,
of that. It was almost like, let me do anything but let you purchase this.
yeah.
And so we
I,
left with a sour taste.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in and put another nail in this coffin. The thing that aggravated me the most about it wasn't just this isn't processed, and okay, and maybe the owner of the store, who I'm assuming wasn't there at the time, um, maybe he's got a strict hard and fast rule that if it's not processed, even you can't even entertain the idea of selling it. I can never
Yeah.
imagine that, but because I again, if I were the owner of the store, my number one talk every day to my employees is we're here to sell stuff. You know, we need stuff
Yep.
going out the door, money coming in the door. But anyway, whatever. Okay, two solutions that they have a back room. If you don't want it, if you don't want people bothering you to ask about stuff that you're not on the in the ready to sell, keep it in the back.
Keep it in the back
It
room.
doesn't need to be sitting out literally right behind the counter or beside the counter. A lot of stuff's out beside the counter because the first time this ever happened at this store was the first time I had ever been to it. And
Yeah.
as we walk in, right here, as you're walking in the door, there's these huge tubs of action figures, including Battlestar Galactica action figures, not the old ones from the 70s. These were more from the 2000s. Um, but I was interested in them. Hey, yeah, how much are these? Because they didn't have prices. Those aren't. We can't sell those. Those aren't processed yet. No, let me look them up. Hey, if you're interested, I'll make you a deal. No, nothing. Just a flat no. And then yesterday, to put the cherry on top of that, not only was it no, it was like, give us a call back in like 2 weeks, and we should have them processed by then.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, what?
Yeah. I mean, that
How
would be
about
my,
take my number, and once you processed them, you know that I'm interested in them. Give me a call. I'll come and have a look and
absolutely.
possibly buy them, depending on what you're
And
pricing them. But
it's not like I live across the street either. I mean, that's going to
no,
be,
right?
I mean, a 45 plus minute
Yeah.
drive for me.
Hmm.
I thought about this long and hard, you know, today. Had that been a box of Fisher Price Adventure People, or if they had a complete eagle sitting there
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
the
yeah,
counter,
yeah.
I don't know that I would ever go back. I mean, it was a collection that I'm very passionate about, but it's not something that it's not a must have. I mean,
Right.
I do want them. I have a bad feeling they're going to overprice them, and I wouldn't have bought them anyway. Um, but
Well, they're
you know,
either going to be overpriced and you wouldn't end up being interested anyway, or more like. But the problem is, we're never going to know because we, like you said, we don't go there every day,
yeah,
and so it's just as likely that if you did make a calendar event to say, hey, call this place in 2 weeks, chances are you're going to call back and they're either not going to know what you're talking about, or they're going to, oh
Yeah.
yeah, those are gone. Those are sold. That we sold those.
Yeah, and that's very frustrating. And so I may have gotten extremely vocal had it been something that one of us, if it had
No,
been
yeah,
like a
there were
grail
certain things
piece,
I would have been like, "Are you kidding me? You can't." So, like, if it was a Grail or something,
you call your manager
yeah, yeah, call the owner. Hey, are you
now.
willing to make a, to be honest, it shouldn't be on me as the customer to tell you to do that.
Yeah,
You should just
I
do that.
you should.
Hey, here's the
I
thing. I'm saving you some work because if we work out a good enough deal, you're never going to have to see these things again. I'll take them out the door today.
Yeah, and you make the money today, and
You
I
make the
think that
money
should be the
today.
main
Yeah.
goal of any business is to make money right now, not 2 weeks. I mean, I
Well,
just don't
and
understand.
one thing we haven't said is the staff that were working that day. I saw a lot of standing around behind. It's not like they're sitting there actively processing the stuff that's piled up behind the register. Literally, the staff that were working that day, they stood behind the They stood behind the counters the entire time we were there. Didn't see them
Yeah.
pick up anything.
No, there
Um,
wasn't like a box of things that they were working on. They weren't
right.
currently pricing things. They weren't
They
there
were just
was
standing
just
around
no,
talking. They were
there was
just,
just no effort being made to do anything, and it's just very frustrating. And even when
yeah.
I ask questions about certain things, it was like a we might have some over there.
Yeah.
Not a not let me go check or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
no.
It was just a
I'm gonna say that is a pet peeve of mine from long, long ago. Is if I never want to ask an employee where something is and get pointed in a direction.
yeah.
No, it should be. It could be an acceptable answer is no, we don't have that. But if you think you have it and you think you know where it is, I'm expecting a little more effort. Like I'm not interrupting you with another customer. I'm going to wait my turn and ask the question. But then I expect a little bit, it's what I told you. My little joke is about this is I've come to expect this level of indifference from a big corporation like FYE
Yeah.
or Hot Topic or something like that. I expect them to not care. But this is a small local business. You should really be on top of this. You should really care, but you
You are
don't.
dependent on the local
Yeah,
businesses.
yeah. You're not a massive corporation,
Yeah.
so I just expect better from small businesses. I just do, and like I said, if I wanted this level of indifference from the employees, I'd go to FYE.
Yeah, it's just a shame, and it's one of those things. And I mean, I think the next time I'm in the area, that will definitely be something that's on my mind.
Yeah,
It'll be
me
something
too.
like, do I want to take the extra few minutes to drive over there? You know what? Maybe not.
Well,
I
that
mean,
that and that's the other thing is that even as we said, this we're not going to say any names. The place is in the Greensboro area, but it's not an area of Greensboro I go to a lot. It's
me
kind of out
either.
of the way from the
I do
normal
have to go out of
areas
my
that
way
I
to get
go,
there.
and I don't know if this is worth going out of my way.
I mean, I agree, and I don't know, and that's a shame, man, because I mean, I had some very positive finds there. I mean, I don't even know that
Hmm.
I would know about Marks had I not looked into a cabinet one day
Yep.
and noticed the Hulk, Iron Man, and Spider Man.
Hmm.
That's what started us on that journey, and that journey's been fun. And we've learned a lot, and we've come to grow to love a new toy company because of that. But that's not because someone was out there saying, "Oh, I noticed that you like Marvel. Let me show you these really cool things
Yeah.
that I have." I just happened to notice them. I was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely want to get one of those." And then that started
And
a
that's the
journey.
sad part of it is that I have every time I have gone there, I'm not gonna say I've never find a good deal. I always find a good deal there. I do and find interesting things there, but it's I don't know. I have. I'm not saying I'll never go there again. I probably will go there again at some point, but I definitely wouldn't like if their level of service and just the quality of the experience was on the brothers toys level, I would go there every day because I work actually. Um, I work in a place where I could come down 220. It's still not right around the corner, but when I'm in the office and not working from home, I could make it to that area fairly easily.
Yeah.
During my lunch hour or whatever. So I would probably go there much more often if they're low. But especially after this experience, being there to experience that, I'm just like, eh, again, I'm not saying I'll never go there. I'm sure I will go back there, but they're not at the top of the list of places I got to go to.
No, I would drive further to go to Brothers.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
Same
just
thing.
would. I mean, and I honestly like. I mean, I want to end the podcast. I know we're way over our time. Holy
Yeah.
cow!
It's fine.
Um,
I don't care.
I want to end on a positive. I don't want to end on that negative because our
Yeah.
day didn't end negative. But
No, no,
we
it
went
was a
back to your
great
house.
day. That
Yeah,
was one
yeah,
bad, that was like one sour note in
yeah.
a beautiful symphony that day.
Yeah, we went back to your house and unpacked all of the finds. We unpacked the Mac box. We looked at all the cool things that had accumulated in that since the
Yeah.
last time we were able to hang out. And that was exciting. And then you actually got to see the Mac box that I'd kind of, I guess, decorated is the best way to say
No,
that,
that's
with
that's an amazing.
old comic book pieces.
Yeah.
But it was a really really fun day, and I look back at that experience at Brothers. I need to make a note and make sure I go on because I mean I don't know that a tiny little Google review or a Yelp or anything's going to do anything, but I need to do my part because it really was one of the better parts of the day.
No,
I
it
think,
was a great experience.
yeah, totally awesome was just as
Totally
good.
awesome's always good. And actually, we actually were asking Mikey if he'd be interested in doing an episode with us, and he was totally up for it. Told us to message him on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll
Yeah,
set up a schedule. And so you and I, were even discussing on the drive back. We're gonna come up with a list of topics that we'd be interested in making sure that we talk to him about. And so, yeah,
yeah,
so I think in the next few months between, we're definitely gonna, I'm hoping things go well enough. I'd love for Mike to become and just so people aren't getting confused, Mikey and Mike are two different people.
they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mikey is the owner of Totally Awesome Comics. Mike is a good friend of mine,
and
and
Keith is a guy that I had confused from a CD store.
yeah, from a
So
CD store who
I had that
says,
written down. I
yeah.
had Keith written down over here from the CD store on my notes for the
Yeah, that
thing
was Keith's CDs and tapes
that had
that
been there.
in
You
Burlington.
said for 40
It's been
years.
there for 40 years. Sadly,
That's
the
so
owner
awesome.
just passed away a
He
few
did.
weeks ago.
Yeah, just a
The
couple weeks
the the
ago.
Keith that you mentioned,
Yep.
unfortunately, just passed away. Thankfully, it sounds like the business is going to carry on, which is great because that's been a landmark in Burlington my entire life. And but yeah, it sounds like we're going to have some interesting guest
Here we are.
appearances coming up over the next couple of weeks or months. And because I also have another guest that I'm going to work on trying to get onto the podcast. That is, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be entertaining.
If that one works out, if I mean we will have to find a way to, I guess, advertise that to more people because I think there's going to be people out there in the comic book world that would maybe never listen to us but would want to tune in for that one
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
it would be
it's going
to
to
their
be a
benefit.
blast. That
Yeah,
one's
it's
going to
going to
be
be
a
a blast.
blast if we can pull that together.
It would be a lot of fun. All right, man. Well, we have done our damage today, man. So we appreciate all of the people out there. Be sure to like and subscribe. It certainly does help the channel. Please leave comments, whether it's on Spotify or on YouTube or whatever you happen to be listening on. So, and let us know what you would like to hear us talk about because that's what we're here for. I mean,
That
I
is
think that
right.
we're all interested in the same things. Um, when I hit Mike with that question, I think I kind of threw him off. He's like, I need to think about that. And then the Ultraman thing came up, and then that's I think that should be one thing for certain at some point because I think that would make a great show. Because Ultraman, I think, holds a special place in anybody's
It
heart, the
certainly
original
does
especially.
mine. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Ultraman was huge, man. I mean, I look back on that very, very fondly. And I know that I used my X-Wing pilot. I don't know if you remember what he looked like, but he
He
looked
looked like the Science Patrol because they
he
had
did.
orange uniforms.
Yeah,
Yes.
I used that as my Ultraman guy a lot when I was little. So yeah, I'm glad you understand that because I thought I
Yes.
was crazy.
Yeah, because they wore the Science Patrol. They wore these weird orange suits,
Yep.
but they actually wore a tie. They had a tie
Yeah,
in.
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was my guy, and I would put his hand up, and then I would get the Ultraman figure out and then
Oh
throw
yeah,
down. So
my watching Ultraman. My mother probably hated it because I rearranged the furniture quite a bit, jumping around and pretending I was Ultraman.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, man. Mac, it's been good. It was a fantastic weekend, man. A great day. I really enjoyed it. And to all the listeners out there, we will see you again next time.
Have a good one.